One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing life's most meaningful moments to pass without truly experiencing them. Every single day places something valuable in front of you, but if you move through life without paying attention, those moments disappear forever, leaving you with nothing to learn from. The people who grow the most are not always the smartest or the luckiest. They are the ones who fully absorb everything life places before them, whether it brings happiness or heartbreak, victory or defeat. I want you to embrace every contrast that life offers because every experience has something important to teach you. There will be days filled with celebration, and there will also be days marked by disappointment, but both are equally valuable if you allow yourself to learn from them. Success teaches confidence, failure teaches wisdom, joy strengthens gratitude, and sorrow builds compassion that can never be learned any other way. If you truly want your words to influence people one day, you must first allow life to influence you. You cannot give away something you have never received, and you cannot inspire others unless you have first been inspired yourself. Every lesson worth sharing begins as an experience that deeply changes the person who eventually teaches it. That is why I encourage you to become completely present wherever you are. Don't let important days pass as ordinary memories because every day becomes another piece of the picture that will eventually tell the story of your life. Years from now, those moments will become treasures that help guide your future decisions, but only if you paid enough attention when they first happened. It doesn't matter whether you're speaking with a child who needs hope, a customer considering an opportunity, a close friend searching for direction, or someone you have just met. Every conversation holds the potential to teach you something that will become useful later. Absorb each encounter completely so you never lose the value hidden inside it. Wherever life places you, allow yourself to feel what is happening around you instead of remaining distant. The people who leave the greatest impact on others are those who have first allowed themselves to be deeply affected by life. Before you can touch another person's heart, your own heart must be capable of feeling something real. If you hope to encourage people, then you must first understand encouragement yourself. If you want to lift others during difficult seasons, you must remember what it felt like when someone lifted you. Every meaningful connection begins when you stop protecting yourself from emotion and start allowing life to reach you. Here's the balance you must learn. Never allow life's difficulties to destroy you, but never become so guarded that nothing reaches you either. Many people spend years building emotional walls to avoid disappointment, never realizing those same walls also prevent happiness, love, excitement, and growth from entering their lives. You simply cannot block pain without also blocking joy. Every shield that keeps rejection away also keeps opportunity away, and every barrier that protects your heart can quietly prevent genuine relationships from forming. Growth always requires vulnerability, and that means accepting the possibility of disappointment while remaining open to incredible experiences. I have always believed that one of life's greatest gifts is the ability to respond emotionally. A powerful movie, a moving story, an inspiring speech, or even a meaningful conversation should leave you feeling something. Make me laugh, make me think, move me to tears if necessary, surprise me, challenge me, but never allow me to leave unchanged. That same principle applies to life itself. Never become so casual that nothing excites you anymore. Casual living slowly drains purpose from your days, and before long, you stop noticing opportunities that once would have inspired you to take action. Remember this simple truth because it can completely change the direction of your future. Casualness leads to casualties. Be intentional when gathering knowledge. Be intentional when meeting new people. Be intentional when observing situations, listening carefully, and collecting lessons that others overlook because they were too distracted to notice. If you become careless with your experiences, your world gradually becomes smaller. Your thinking becomes limited, your perspective grows shallow, and eventually your spirit lacks the depth needed to encourage someone else during their hardest moments. One day your son, your daughter, your family, or someone depending on you may need wisdom, but wisdom cannot be invented at the last minute. It must be collected over years of paying close attention. So let life shape you. Let every challenge, every victory, every conversation, and every unexpected moment leave its mark because those experiences become the foundation of the person you are becoming. The more fully you experience life today, the more valuable your advice, leadership, and character will become tomorrow. The next skill is just as important because learning alone is never enough. You must also learn how to reflect. Reflection is the habit of revisiting your experiences instead of allowing them to disappear into memory without extracting their value. Think of it as replaying the important moments of your life so you can understand them more deeply each time. At the end of every day, give yourself a few quiet minutes to review everything that happened. Look back over your schedule, remember the conversations you had, the decisions you made, the emotions you felt, and the opportunities you encountered. When you replay those moments with intention, an ordinary day becomes an extraordinary teacher, preparing you to make tomorrow even better. Reflection should never be limited to a single day because every stretch of time carries lessons that only become clear when you step back and examine them. At the end of each week, set aside a few quiet hours to revisit everything that happened, allowing the victories, setbacks, conversations, and decisions to reveal what they were trying to teach you. When you intentionally review your week instead of rushing into the next one, you transform ordinary experiences into valuable preparation for the future. The same practice becomes even more powerful at the end of every month. Spend half a day looking back through your calendar, your travels, your meetings, your achievements, and even your disappointments, because every event holds a lesson that can strengthen your next step. Don't only remember the moments that made you proud, revisit the difficult ones as well, because failures often contain insights that success never reveals. Then expand your perspective even further by reflecting on entire seasons of your life. Think about the last several years, the goals you achieved, the dreams that slipped away, the opportunities you embraced, and the mistakes you wish you had handled differently. Every triumph, every setback, every win, and every loss has become part of your education, and the wisdom gathered from those years can become an investment that makes the years ahead far more productive. That is the true value of the past. It is not simply a collection of memories stored away in your mind. The past is a form of currency that can be invested into your future if you are willing to study it instead of ignoring it. Every lesson you've already paid for through experience can help you make wiser decisions the next time a similar situation appears. When you enter your next business meeting, begin another project, recruit someone into an opportunity, or face an important decision, your greatest advantage may not come from something new you have learned. It may come from remembering something you already experienced years ago but finally understand today. Reflection allows yesterday to become useful instead of forgotten. Sometimes the greatest thing you can do for yourself is to step away from the noise completely. Shut out the distractions for a while, leave behind the constant activity, and spend time alone with your thoughts. Think deeply about where you've been, where you are now, and where you truly want your life to go, because clarity is often born in moments of quiet rather than moments of chaos. When you return from that time of reflection, you don't come back as the same person. You walk away with greater confidence because you've taken the time to organize your thoughts, understand your experiences, and reconnect with your purpose. That kind of personal clarity creates strength that no outside circumstance can easily shake. Once you've absorbed life and reflected on what it has taught you, there is only one step left that gives those lessons real value. You must act. Knowledge without action remains unused potential, and experience without execution produces very little change. Everything you've learned only becomes meaningful when it begins shaping your choices and your behavior. Action is what transforms ideas into progress. It converts lessons into results, emotions into movement, and opportunities into achievement. It is through consistent action that life begins producing growth, profit, fulfillment, productivity, and every other reward people spend years searching for. Gather everything you've experienced, everything you've remembered, and everything you've felt, then put it to work. Your observations, your emotions, your victories, and your disappointments all become valuable raw material for building a better future. None of those experiences were meant to remain locked inside your memory forever. They were meant to become fuel for your next decision. Think about the greatest performances you've ever seen, whether on stage, in a speech, or in a memorable film. A brilliant script certainly matters, but what truly moves people is the emotion carried behind those words. Facts may capture someone's attention for a moment, but genuine feeling is what reaches the heart, inspires the mind, and remains unforgettable long after the performance has ended. The same principle applies to your own life. When your experiences remain close to the surface instead of being buried, they give power to your words and authenticity to your actions. People naturally respond to someone whose message comes from lived experience rather than empty theory. This kind of growth doesn't happen by accident. It is the result of intentional personal development practiced every single day. Anyone willing to consistently observe, reflect, and act can become remarkably effective at influencing, encouraging, and leading other people. But there is one mistake you must avoid if you truly want to benefit from inspiration. Never wait until the feeling disappears before making your plans. The best time to act is while your emotions are still alive, while your motivation is strong, and while your vision is completely clear. When excitement is fresh, your commitment is naturally stronger. During those moments, write down the calls you're going to make, the meetings you're going to schedule, the habits you're going to build, and the people you're going to reach out to. Decide what disciplines you will begin and what changes you will no longer postpone. Don't tell yourself you'll figure it out later, because later is usually where great intentions quietly disappear. Momentum is one of the greatest gifts you can ever receive, but it only remains alive if you immediately put it to work. Every successful achievement begins with someone choosing to move while the desire is still burning inside them. There is a principle that affects nearly everyone, whether they realize it or not. It is the law of diminishing intent. Whenever you hear an inspiring idea or experience a powerful emotional moment, your desire to act reaches its highest point. But the longer you wait, the weaker that desire becomes. The moment you leave an inspiring environment, the excitement slowly begins to cool. Daily responsibilities return, distractions multiply, comfort becomes attractive again, and suddenly the plans that once felt urgent begin to feel optional. Before long, what seemed life-changing becomes just another forgotten intention. That is why you must move before the fire fades. Turn your ideas into appointments. Turn your inspiration into phone calls. Turn your vision into written goals. Turn your determination into daily disciplines before hesitation has a chance to replace momentum. Every meaningful dream eventually reaches a crossroads where emotion must become action. If you cross that bridge immediately, your life begins changing. If you keep delaying, your enthusiasm slowly disappears, leaving you wondering why nothing ever seems to move forward. The difference between those who merely dream and those who actually succeed is often much smaller than people imagine. Successful people simply act while the feeling is still alive, refusing to let inspiration expire before it has produced results. The final ability that ties everything together is the ability to share what you have learned. It may come from remembering something you already experienced years ago but finally understand today. Reflection allows yesterday to become useful instead of forgotten. Sometimes the greatest thing you can do for yourself is to step away from the noise completely. Shut out the distractions for a while, leave behind the constant activity, and spend time alone with your thoughts. Think deeply about where you've been, where you are now, and where you truly want your life to go, because clarity is often born in moments of quiet rather than moments of chaos. When you return from that time of reflection, you don't come back as the same person. You walk away with greater confidence because you've taken the time to organize your thoughts, understand your experiences, and reconnect with your purpose. That kind of personal clarity creates strength that no outside circumstance can easily shake. Once you've absorbed life and reflected on what it has taught you, there is only one step left that gives those lessons real value. You must act. Knowledge without action remains unused potential, and experience without execution produces very little change. Everything you've learned only becomes meaningful when it begins shaping your choices and your behavior. Action is what transforms ideas into progress. It converts lessons into results, emotions into movement, and opportunities into achievement. It is through consistent action that life begins producing growth, profit, fulfillment, productivity, and every other reward people spend years searching for. Gather everything you've experienced, everything you've remembered, and everything you've felt, then put it to work. Your observations, your emotions, your victories, and your disappointments all become valuable raw material for building a better future. None of those experiences were meant to remain locked inside your memory forever. They were meant to become fuel for your next decision. Think about the greatest performances you've ever seen, whether on stage, in a speech, or in a memorable film. A brilliant script certainly matters, but what truly moves people is the emotion carried behind those words. Facts may capture someone's attention for a moment, but genuine feeling is what reaches the heart, inspires the mind, and remains unforgettable long after the performance has ended. The same principle applies to your own life. When your experiences remain close to the surface instead of being buried, they give power to your words and authenticity to your actions. People naturally respond to someone whose message comes from lived experience rather than empty theory. This kind of growth doesn't happen by accident. It is the result of intentional personal development practiced every single day. Anyone willing to consistently observe, reflect, and act can become remarkably effective at influencing, encouraging, and leading other people. But there is one mistake you must avoid if you truly want to benefit from inspiration. Never wait until the feeling disappears before making your plans. The best time to act is while your emotions are still alive, while your motivation is strong, and while your vision is completely clear. When excitement is fresh, your commitment is naturally stronger. During those moments, write down the calls you're going to make, the meetings you're going to schedule, the habits you're going to build, and the people you're going to reach out to. Decide what disciplines you will begin and what changes you will no longer postpone. Don't tell yourself you'll figure it out later, because later is usually where great intentions quietly disappear. Momentum is one of the greatest gifts you can ever receive, but it only remains alive if you immediately put it to work. Every successful achievement begins with someone choosing to move while the desire is still burning inside them. There is a principle that affects nearly everyone, whether they realize it or not. It is the law of diminishing intent. Whenever you hear an inspiring idea or experience a powerful emotional moment, your desire to act reaches its highest point. But the longer you wait, the weaker that desire becomes. The moment you leave an inspiring environment, the excitement slowly begins to cool. Daily responsibilities return, distractions multiply, comfort becomes attractive again, and suddenly the plans that once felt urgent begin to feel optional. Before long, what seemed life-changing becomes just another forgotten intention. That is why you must move before the fire fades. Turn your ideas into appointments. Turn your inspiration into phone calls. Turn your vision into written goals. Turn your determination into daily disciplines before hesitation has a chance to replace momentum. Every meaningful dream eventually reaches a crossroads where emotion must become action. If you cross that bridge immediately, your life begins changing. If you keep delaying, your enthusiasm slowly disappears, leaving you wondering why nothing ever seems to move forward. The difference between those who merely dream and those who actually succeed is often much smaller than people imagine. Successful people simply act while the feeling is still alive, refusing to let inspiration expire before it has produced results. The final ability that ties everything together is the ability to share what you have learned. Sharing is one of the most rewarding experiences available to any human being because the greatest benefits often return to the person who gives rather than the one who receives. It may seem surprising at first, but life has a remarkable way of rewarding those who freely pass along wisdom, encouragement, and opportunity instead of keeping everything for themselves. This is what can be called enlightened self-interest. It is a way of living where everyone involved benefits because generosity creates value for both the giver and the receiver. When you discover an idea that has improved your life, don't hide it. When you find an opportunity that could help another family build a stronger future, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with confidence because you never know whose life may begin to change through a simple conversation. If you possess knowledge that can help someone become financially stronger, emotionally healthier, or personally more confident, then pass it along. Imagine giving a father the opportunity to provide for his family with greater dignity, pay his bills on time, and build a more secure future for his children. Opportunities like these should never remain locked inside your own life because their greatest value appears when they begin transforming someone else's. Too many people hold back because they are afraid of rejection or criticism. They convince themselves that staying silent is safer than speaking up, but in doing so they rob others of possibilities that could have completely changed their future. Don't bottle up your experiences or your ideas. Someone you meet tomorrow may be waiting for the very lesson you learned yesterday. There is an important principle worth remembering throughout your life. If your only goal is to protect what you have, you eventually lose far more than you save. A life built entirely around self-preservation becomes small, while a life built around contribution continues to expand with every person it touches. When all your attention is focused only on yourself, your world becomes limited. But when you begin investing your time, wisdom, and energy into other people, your own life grows in ways you never expected. The richest investment you can ever make is placing a valuable idea into another person's mind and allowing them to build something meaningful from it. Think about how often one conversation has changed the course of someone's life. Years later, a person may remember a breakfast meeting, a short discussion, or a few encouraging words that completely altered their direction. They may tell you that a single idea you shared became the turning point that gave them the courage to pursue a better future. Those moments remind us that influence is often far more powerful than we realize. We rarely know which conversation will leave a lasting mark on another person's heart, so never underestimate the value of speaking hope, sharing wisdom, or offering encouragement. Even the smallest seed can eventually grow into something extraordinary. As you continue your journey, become a serious student of life. Study people carefully. Observe how they think, how they communicate, how they solve problems, and how they overcome difficulties. Every person you meet has something valuable to teach you if you are willing to pay close attention. Become a serious student of business and enterprise as well. Learn how successful organizations grow, how leaders build strong cultures, and how opportunities are created rather than simply discovered. The more you understand how value is produced, the more prepared you become to create value yourself. Make financial independence another subject you study with determination. Learn how to build a secure future for your family instead of leaving everything to chance. Develop the habits, knowledge, and discipline that create stability so that unexpected challenges never completely shake the foundation you've worked so hard to build. At the same time, continue developing every skill available to you. Communication, leadership, discipline, decision-making, emotional intelligence, and problem-solving all become valuable assets that appreciate over time. The more abilities you acquire, the greater your capacity to serve others and create opportunities wherever you go. Above all, become a relentless seeker of truth. Never allow yourself to believe that your education is finished simply because school has ended or because you've reached a certain level of success. The people who continue learning remain valuable throughout their entire lives because growth never stops for those who remain curious. Learning has always been the first step towards success. Every meaningful achievement begins when someone decides they no longer know enough and becomes willing to search for greater understanding. Knowledge opens doors that talent alone can never unlock. Alongside learning comes another principle that has the power to completely redirect your future. Direction determines destination. Where you eventually arrive depends far more on the direction you're traveling today than on where you happen to be standing right now. Many people become discouraged because they cannot change their entire life overnight. The truth is that lasting transformation rarely happens in a single day. What can change overnight is your direction, and once your direction changes, your destination begins changing with it. A small adjustment made today can produce noticeable improvements within a week. Continue moving in that same direction for months, and the difference becomes remarkable. Continue for years, and you may hardly recognize the person you've become because consistent progress always outperforms dramatic but temporary effort. That is why collecting good ideas matters so much. Every worthwhile idea has the potential to redirect your thinking, improve your decisions, and ultimately reshape your future. Never stop searching for ideas that challenge your assumptions and inspire better action. The next step after learning is creating a solid plan. Vision alone is never enough because even the greatest dream remains only a dream until it is supported by a practical strategy. Every meaningful accomplishment begins with someone taking a clear vision and breaking it into manageable steps. If your goal is better health, create a plan. If your dream is financial freedom, create a plan. If your desire is stronger relationships, greater influence, or a more meaningful life, each of those goals requires daily action organized through intentional planning. Progress is built one discipline at a time, one decision at a time, and one consistent action after another. A clear vision gives you a destination, but a strong plan gives you the path to reach it. Without a plan, even the most powerful dreams remain uncertain because success requires more than desire. It requires structure, discipline, and consistent effort. The difference between people who only imagine a better future and those who actually create one is their willingness to organize their goals into daily actions. A plan transforms a dream from an idea into a responsibility. It tells you what needs to happen step by step, hour by hour, and day by day. Every major achievement in life is built through small decisions repeated consistently until they create something much greater than the individual actions themselves. The next important lesson is learning how to handle the passing of time. Time continues moving whether we are prepared for change or not, and every person must learn how to adapt to new seasons, new challenges, and new opportunities. Life does not remain the same forever, so our ability to grow depends on how well we handle transition. We all have a responsibility to gather knowledge, develop multiple skills, and prepare ourselves to guide the people who depend on us. Whether it is our family, our team, our organization, or our community, the future belongs to those who are willing to prepare themselves today. Challenges will always exist, but preparation gives us the confidence to face them without fear. The world will continue changing, industries will continue evolving, and new situations will continue appearing. We may face uncertainty, but uncertainty does not have to create fear. With the right attitude, strong character, useful skills, and commitment to growth, we can move forward through change with confidence and purpose. However, handling change requires something many people struggle with: patience. Great things rarely happen instantly. A successful organization, a strong relationship, a valuable career, and a meaningful life all require time to develop. The process cannot be rushed simply because we want immediate results. Think about an orchestra. A beautiful performance does not happen the first time musicians pick up their instruments. It requires practice, patience, and countless hours of improvement before every individual sound comes together in harmony. In the same way, a successful team is not created overnight. People from different backgrounds and experiences need time to understand each other and work toward a common purpose. Give your projects time to develop. Give your organization time to grow. Give your relationships time to strengthen. Most importantly, give yourself time to improve, because one of the biggest mistakes people make is giving up on themselves too quickly. Many people look at a new skill or a difficult goal and immediately decide it is impossible. They say, "I will never learn this," or "this is beyond my ability," before they have even given themselves a real opportunity to improve. But growth requires patience, and your current limitations do not define your future potential. Do not become impatient with yourself. Every successful person was once a beginner. Every expert once struggled with the basics. Every achievement that looks effortless today was built through countless moments of learning, practice, and persistence. The same patience applies when helping others grow. Sometimes it takes time for a person to move from confusion to understanding, from uncertainty to confidence, and from struggle to success. You cannot force transformation to happen instantly, but you can provide support, knowledge, and encouragement while they continue their journey. Life moves through seasons, and every season has its purpose. Spring requires planting, summer requires effort, and harvest comes only after time has passed. You cannot demand results before the necessary work has been completed. Growth follows a process, and patience allows that process to reach its full potential. But patience does not mean accepting problems forever. Patience must be combined with action. If you lack something important in your life, you must look for ways to improve it. If you do not have enough money, search for solutions. If you want financial security, develop the skills and habits that can create it. Life is not about avoiding problems because problems are unavoidable. Life is about learning how to solve problems. Every challenge you overcome strengthens your ability to handle the next challenge that appears. The goal is not to create a life without difficulties. The goal is to become stronger and wiser through those difficulties. One powerful method for solving problems is to take them out of your mind and place them on paper. Many people carry problems around in their thoughts until they become overwhelming, but writing them down creates clarity. When you see the situation clearly in front of you, you can begin searching for practical solutions. Take a piece of paper and divide it into two sections. On one side, write the problem exactly as it exists. Do not avoid the difficult details or pretend everything is fine. Sometimes you must honestly examine the negative side before you can discover the positive path forward. Some people believe looking closely at problems is negative thinking, but there is a difference between understanding a problem and allowing it to control your life. You cannot solve something you refuse to acknowledge. Careful examination is not weakness, it is preparation. Once the problem is clearly defined, begin searching for answers. Write down possible solutions, possible actions, and possible strategies. The goal is not to remain focused on what is wrong but to create a clear path toward what can be improved. Ask yourself important questions that can guide your thinking. The first question is, what could I do? Before searching everywhere else for answers, challenge yourself to find a solution using your own knowledge, experience, and creativity. The reason this step matters is because solving problems develops strength. The answer itself is valuable, but the ability you build while searching for that answer is even more valuable. Skills remain with you forever, while individual successes may only last for a moment. The skills you develop while overcoming challenges are far more valuable than any temporary result you achieve. A single success may disappear, but the ability that created that success can continue producing results for the rest of your life. This is why you should never focus only on getting the next achievement. Focus on becoming the person who has the skills to create achievements repeatedly. This principle is especially important in areas like sales, business, and personal growth. Many people only chase immediate results, but the wiser approach is to develop the ability behind those results. A sale is temporary, but the skill of communication, understanding people, building trust, and creating value will continue serving you again and again. So when you face a challenge, do not simply ask, how can I get through this moment? Ask a deeper question, what skill can I develop from this experience? Every difficulty contains an opportunity to strengthen yourself if you are willing to learn from it. If you have examined the problem yourself and still cannot find the answer, the next question is, what could I read? Somewhere in the world, someone may have already faced the same challenge you are facing today. Someone may have spent years studying that problem and then collected their knowledge into a book that can save you years of confusion. Never underestimate the power of learning from others. A single book can contain decades of experience, mistakes, discoveries, and solutions from another person's life. When you read, you gain access to lessons that would have taken you many years to discover on your own. But you must approach learning with seriousness. If you have a problem, search for answers. If you have a challenge, search for knowledge. Do not simply hope that circumstances will somehow improve by themselves. Hope without action creates disappointment, but knowledge combined with action creates progress. First, search your own mind. Search your own experiences. Search your own values and understanding. Give yourself the opportunity to discover your own strength. But if your personal knowledge is not enough, then begin searching for outside wisdom through books, education, and the experiences of those who have already walked the path before you. The future is too important to leave to chance. Your goals, your family, and your potential deserve more than excuses and uncertainty. The search for better ideas is not a luxury, it is a responsibility for anyone who wants to build a meaningful future. And if you have searched within yourself and studied what others have learned, but the answer still remains unclear, then ask another important question. Who could I ask? There is great wisdom in seeking guidance from people who have experience, knowledge, and understanding. However, remember the order of these steps. Do not immediately ask someone else to solve your problem before you have made an honest effort yourself. The purpose is not only to find an answer, it is to develop your own ability to think, analyze, and solve challenges. When you struggle through the process, you build mental strength. You develop patience, creativity, confidence, and problem-solving skills. If someone gives you the answer too quickly, you may receive information, but you may miss the opportunity to develop the ability that would help you solve future problems. This is why the old lesson remains true. Teaching someone how to fish is more valuable than simply giving them a fish. A meal can solve a problem for one day, but a skill can create solutions for a lifetime. The same principle applies to everything you have learned throughout your journey. What you have gained in your mind should be shared. What you have discovered in your heart should be passed forward. What you have experienced in your life should become a source of guidance for someone else. Even your mistakes can become valuable if you use them correctly. The failures that once caused disappointment can become lessons that protect another person from making the same choices. Your struggles can become someone else's roadmap. Your difficult moments can become the reason someone else finds hope. There are people who may never experience the confidence, success, and opportunities they desire until someone like you decides to share what you know. Your words, your encouragement, and your willingness to help may become the turning point they were waiting for. So do not delay. Move forward with purpose. Step into your next conversation ready to invest in another person's life. Enter your next meeting with the intention of creating value. Reach out to people not only because you want something from them, but because you have something meaningful to offer. The rewards of helping others go far beyond financial success. Money has value, but the richness of the human spirit is something much deeper. A meaningful life is measured not only by what you gain, but by what you give, what you teach, and how many lives become better because you were willing to contribute. Human beings have incredible potential. Our capacity to learn, grow, create, and influence others is far greater than most people realize. But that potential only expands when we use it. Knowledge that remains hidden cannot create change. Ability that remains unused cannot produce results. The more you give, the more capable you become. When you share your ideas, you strengthen your own understanding. When you help others grow, you discover new levels of your own growth. When you pour out your knowledge and experience, you create space for even greater opportunities to enter your life. Continue moving forward with patience, excitement, and commitment. Some people will accept your message immediately, while others may not. You cannot control how every person responds, but you can control your willingness to contribute. Your responsibility is not to force people to change. Your responsibility is to provide value, share wisdom, and offer opportunities. People must choose their own path, but your contribution may become the spark that helps them begin. So take everything you have learned and put it into action. Absorb life deeply. Reflect on your experiences. Create plans. Develop your skills. Solve problems. Share what you know. These abilities together create a powerful foundation for personal growth and lasting success. Become a serious student of life, a serious student of people, and a serious student of growth. Continue searching for truth, continue collecting valuable ideas, and continue improving yourself every day. Remember, direction determines destination. You may not be able to change everything overnight, but you can change the direction of your life in a single decision. A better direction today creates a better future tomorrow. Take your ideas, your experiences, your skills, and your passion, then use them to create value for yourself and everyone around you. When you continue learning, growing, and sharing, you do not just improve your own life, you become someone who helps improve the lives of others. That is the true purpose of personal development. Not simply becoming successful for yourself, but becoming capable enough to make a difference wherever you go. Take what you have learned, step forward with confidence, and use your abilities to create positive change in the world around you.